All right, welcome to episode 2 of VendrCast. This is a place where event professionals can come and be raw, real, and share their stories, their challenges, their wins, and their losses. So we've got a couple awesome guests here today that I'm super excited about. We had quite the setup issues here, but we're here. We only set off one alarm.
Wins?
Heather was super late, so we're gonna blame that on her. But no, I'm kidding. Heather was on time, and this is getting off to a really great start. So I want to cut to our guest here. First of all, we've got Miss Heather Van Halen. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I don't like to talk about myself. Heather Van Halen, owner and founder of Van Halen Events. We've been doing events for going on 10 years in Colorado, but travel. We've done different countries, different states. We did weddings for a very long time. Still doing weddings, but have been working the corporate world a lot as of this past year too, which has been a lot of fun getting into that. Growing the team. We're at a team of 9 now. So growing that team, growing that aspect, working on growing the custom fabrication side of our company as well, which has been fun. Custom builds, custom things.
For events?
For events.
Okay.
Yeah. So what are things we've done? The Kimpton Claret Hotel. We built them that halo, their rooftop halo that they've got. We built them a backlit sign now that lives on their rooftop.
That's cool.
Which is fun.
Very cool.
Yeah. Custom backdrops, photo backdrops, bars, table toppers, things. It's all custom.
So Van Halen Events is kind of your main thing, but that's a side quest or just a branch?
It's branching off. So
Okay.
I keep being told that I need to start more advertising that we're a production house. But baby steps. But yeah, so we do a lot of planning, a lot of designing. That's most of the corporate things we've been brought on to has been to we need to design. So, and we don't, I would say the branch that we're kind of in as far as corporate goes isn't your standard corporate either. It's not like a giant convention, right? So we're working with a lot of car things and we're working with the USA Swim Foundation. So it's award ceremonies, production, and then the custom build stuff just came into play because I like to design and be creative. I'm kind of a handy girl at heart, if you will. That was a really bad way to put that. I like to work with my hands and design things and build things. So yeah, the custom fabric. I have my husband's an engineer, so naturally just building things too is in our wheelhouse. So we got a new toy. Our CNC machine's really fun. So
I love those things.
they're so fun. But yeah, so everything is custom though, right? So I don't house a lot of things. Clients, if you want it, we can build it is basically how it goes. So from champagne walls to bourbon walls to bars to whatever, backdrops.
Love it.
Stuff like that. But yeah, so just kind of venturing, see where it goes.
I love that.
Just see where it
Entrepreneur.
goes.
Love it. And then our second guest, Miss Alex Turney, who I'll let you make your own introduction here, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, Alex Turney, I am with Lionsgate Event Center. I've been with Lionsgate for 16 years now. It's my in-laws that own the place, and my husband and I have just recently started owning and operating. Well, I guess recently it's been 6 years. It just feels like it was yesterday. And yeah, I started at Lionsgate a little while ago as just social media marketing and worked my way up. So we are a venue. We have planners. I have a team of 100 people in the summertime. Yeah.
Crazy.
Lots of little teams. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. So, thank you both for coming on. I do want to stop and say a quick thank you to our sponsors. One of them is Lionsgate for this show. So, thank you for your support. This podcast is something that, for anyone who watched the first episode, it's something that I've been kind of dreaming up for probably 2 years, and I'm like, you know what, we're just going to go forward with it. And Got a lot of people that inquired and supported. You wrote like the coolest email that was like, just talking about how it kind of helped you, listening to us banter back and forth and hopefully kind of commiserating with what we're going through.
Yeah.
And then our other sponsor is Vendor Hub, Venue Hub.
Love them.
Yeah, if you're ever looking for a resource for venues or vendors, Dawn, I mean, we all know Dawn. She's like a staple in the industry. She's awesome. Yeah. So she has reached out, and she'll be on episode 3 as well. So,
Awesome.
she's going to be on next. I think we're going to try to do it at Elevate, but we're not sure yet. So it might be the week after Elevate. She's got a lot going on that day, so we'll see how it works out.
She has a lot going on every day.
Yeah. She's a busy lady.
Yeah.
She is. She's got a lot going on and all the time. And that's kind of the way I like to stay too is like if I don't have a million things going on, I get bored and start to wonder what I'm doing with my life. So one thing I wanted to kind of touch on is how I feel like we've all sort of inherited, maybe not in your case, Heather, but we've all kind of like, for me, I purchased All Digital in 2017. It already had 17 years under its belt as a company, and I've been managing it for the last 8 years. So we just celebrated our 25th year in business. And
awesome.
It was a little weird, taking over and trying to fill Cal Chaney's shoes when he had this huge network. And I come in, guns blazing as a 27-year-old, just like, and everyone's like, who is this guy? And I had really no relationships in the industry other than Lionsgate. And I think I was a preferred vendor at Copperleaf as well, which is down the road.
Mm-hmm.
But like Lionsgate, I mean, you guys hooked me up with like 40 weddings a year that first year.
What am I doing wrong here? I've never done anything at Lionsgate, okay?
Well, I just remember getting the emails, new booking. And then, at the time I was still working 5 days a week for Vestas Blades.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember getting those $350 deposit checks. And it was like life-saving. It was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. The money's just rolling in. And then that's kind of how I met Cal, actually, is at a bridal show at Lionsgate. And I learned down the road that I was his 7th choice. At least that's what someone told me. Yeah, I was his 7th choice. He went through 6 other people and landed on me. But, that's neither here nor there. That's what happened.
You got
that's
it.
Where we're at.
Yep.
So that's kind of my story of trying to fill shoes. And I feel like when I first started, 27-year-old, especially the corporate types, I didn't really have issues selling weddings, but the corporate were like, who is this guy? Like, we're used to dealing with Cal, who we've known for 20 years. He's like in his 60s, and now we're dealing with this like 27-year-old that doesn't know what he's talking about. And I didn't. I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah, I was like, do you now?
Do you ever know?
I'm a little older than that, and I still don't think I know what I'm talking about.
I don't.
So it's fine.
But I'm better at faking it now.
Yeah.
So
great bullshitter. That's how we get through life.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah. So tell me what your experience was like taking that over, and like, because Tom and Marie they're like legendary, and that venue is so unique because of the touches that Marie has put on it and still puts into it,
Yeah.
But I mean, that's like the shoes that I am filling are small compared to that. So
yeah, and the whole other element of them being my in-laws is a whole nother piece of it.
No pressure.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny, when I first started at Lionsgate, just as like I was happily at a different job, and Marie reached out to me and was like, we need a social media person, marketing. I'm going to give you an offer. You can't refuse. And I was like, well, okay, the money's
Try
better.
me.
Yeah. And so I jumped over, and it's been a wild ride ever since. Starting out, if you would have asked me if I would have been in where I am now, I would have laughed at you. But slowly, it was just kind of like things just started kind of easily transferring over to my plate. And before I knew it, I was, running the show. Tom and Marie are legends, and that is that is something that's really hard to like follow in a way. They know everyone. People still come in and are like, I was with Tom and Marie in the first wedding 35 years ago. And I'm like, that's so cool. But now where I am, you know, it's interesting. You know, having been with Lionsgate for 16 years, you start to meet those connections that Marie had. You know, she introduces me, you make those connections, but then things change. Cal Chaney's gone and we've got Devin, and those connections start happening. And it's kind of like a second generation comes in, and then there was an old vendor once that said, connect with the owners of the companies because they're always the constants. You know, like we know employees come and go.
Especially our industry, it's a revolving door.
It is, yeah. And so that's what I, you know, spent my time doing, is really connecting with the owners and the people that, you know, finding the people that I believe in and working with them. And have made big changes. I was young when I started general managing at Lionsgate, and you know, I went through my fair share of staff turnover and changes and hardships and learning, and now I feel like I've got a good foothold. You know, I still am like, I look in the mirror and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but you know, I work with it, and every day at a time. But Tom and Marie are still a legacy. I mean, 35 years, starting with just bare bones, run-down Dove House and turning it into what it is now. It's pretty incredible.
It was just that one building, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Dove House. The Dove House was what they bought, and the neighbors owned just a tiny little farm property next to them. And when they sold, no, the barn is part of it, but the East Room, like where we usually put the buffets, that's the original farmhouse.
Wow.
Yeah. And
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Everything, the ballroom portion is all added on, but when they sold, Tom and Marie were like, we have to have that property, knowing what's coming. You know, like back then you could see straight to the mountains, but now it's like we've got buildings and neighborhoods and stuff around us. So they were like, we have to have that property, and here we are, you know, 35 years later, and three massive buildings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, with me, you know, one thing that Cal taught me is the networking portion, and he's like, you know, you're only as strong as your network. Cal was like a master networker. He told me one time, he's like, the only person who out-networks me is Scott Hiddleman. Shout out to Scott Hiddleman if you're watching.
Yeah.
And now Scott's, you know, got a family. I don't see him around as much, but it's interesting when you get out and start meeting people. Some people don't like you as much, and that's okay.
I'm pretty sure that's like my daily life.
Well, I'm saying like as much as the previous owner.
Oh, yeah.
But some people like you more. Mm-hmm. So there's a payoff. So it's like some people, you know, maybe didn't like Cal's style and they like mine. Some people liked Cal's style and they don't like mine. That's fine. We're different people. But yeah, I feel you on that one. It's tough, and especially following up. You know, it'd be one thing if there were, you know, crappy owners.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but
they weren't.
They weren't, obviously. Or else, yeah. So it is big shoes to fill. Heather, tell me about how you started your business. And
it's kind of a hot mess, to be honest, which is like baseline of my personality as well. Yeah, how did it kind of start? I did not know what the heck I was doing with my life. I was the epitome of the bride who got married and was like, I can do this. Yeah. But I look back on it, and it's like I got married at the Denver Botanic Gardens. Catering by Design, that's still around, was my caterer. And I look back on it, but I was complimented on how like organized I was. And I look back at past jobs, I was like, I liked running the show. Mm-hmm. I always did. But I didn't even know like an event world was a thing when I started Van Halen. But I did 6 years by myself with my husband as my assistant, referral base only. And we averaged 5 to 10 weddings a year. Was happy doing that. And of course, as I like figured out what I wanted to do, I got pregnant, kids. So it was like slow going. But yeah, I always say like I've been doing this for almost 10 years, but the first 8 years were really slow. Again, 5 to 10, just putzing around. Last year was supposed to be a slow year. Still, I was going to take one more till my son was in kindergarten this year. I did a wedding January 20th of last year, and last year alone I did 34 events. So I went from my 5 to 10 and just kind of putzing around, did no networking at all, to 34. And this year we closed our books middle of February. We were booked out for this year, and we're already got a bunch next year as well. So like
Nice.
it went and it's gone fast, which I'm really happy about. But yeah, I just found a niche, and I'm a control freak, and really just always liked running things. So yeah, that's kind of the short version of it. Is just
Thank you for sharing that, because I've always wondered what type of crazy you have to be.
Yes,
to be like an
yes,
event planner.
yeah. I've been called a psychopath.
Yeah.
Matt with Elite, he likes to call me a psychopath on a regular basis, which is acceptable. It's so fun. I will never forget a conversation I was having with somebody, and I'm going over. I'm like, yeah, we got to organize 600 people, right? And we've got these 200 got to go here, these 400 here, and we got these moving parts in there. And I'm just lighting up talking about it because I love this stuff. And they're all just like, psychopath, like just straight up. And I was like, I get such a thrill out of it though, right? Like, and it's been interesting kind of going into the corporate world and us saying that we are basically wedding trained though, because people are like, weddings have a different, not all by any means, but depths and personalities that you kind of generally deal with outside of corporate. It's a little different. So everybody's like, oh, you're a wedding trained like planner, and now you're doing this. Like, I feel like there's like, oh God, again, kind of a psychopath or not. And the best, I take it as a compliment. Like, I truly do love what I do. Yeah. And I am a control freak, and type A. But I also love to be the Venmo friend, you know, when I'm out with my girlfriends or I'm just out. Don't ask me to do anything. I will send you money and just tell me where to go and what to be. Balance. But yeah, I've found, again, just even jobs prior to doing the event life, I loved running the show. I loved being in charge. I loved running the team. From opening the Four Seasons Denver downtown to opening the Cooney Lexus Greenwood Village location, like openings, finding a project and executing it. And I molded positions with other companies, some startup companies that I was a part of, molded positions to help them grow. I love a project. I like watching people succeed. I like being and just going in and, I don't know, helping, right? It's just a weirdness.
So do you feel like the jobs that you had prior to starting your business, do you feel like it was kind of like all leading you up to that point?
I would.
In a way?
I don't think I noticed it until recently looking back at it. Yeah. Because I look at how I worked with the teams on those and how, I would definitely say that all of those were.
I feel the same way. I mean, all of the gigs that I had previously to starting my business, I was in like a training role. And that's one of the big things that I find fulfillment from is like training someone, developing them, and then watching them succeed.
Yeah.
Like that to me is awesome. And there's been a ton of shooters that, you know, have apprenticed with me, and of course I don't claim to know everything. I'm a pretty good videographer, but like they'll come in and they like there's this one dude that he literally apprenticed with me for 2 years, and he was working at a coffee shop, and he had one video of like his trip to Africa that he had made, and I was like, it's pretty bad, you know, like it's not great.
Gonna work.
It's not great, but I could tell that he had the drive and the passion that it required, and that's all I had. I mean, I mean,
absolutely.
So brought him on board, and within 2 years he was out shooting everybody on my team. I mean, just super talented guy, and so I feel like now the role that I've kind of adopted within my own company is recruiting, and that's one thing that I'll always be in charge of, because as you know, everyone you bring in on your team affects the culture, good or bad, and you want to make sure that the people you're bringing in are good. Me and Brittany split the consultations, and I was talking with another business owner about this. It was really interesting. Venue owner, actually. He said that he does all of the walkthroughs. He does every single...
We're used to do that.
Not walkthrough, but like when someone's
tour.
touring, yeah, thank you. And I'm like, that's really interesting that like that's what you find as a good use of your time. He's like, well, you think about it, that's the top of our funnel, you know. That's how your clients get in. That's the gate. They have to enter through that gate, right? And if you want to have good clients, well, what better way than vetting all of them during the tour? So he's like, I do all those. And it's funny because you know, as we've kind of grown and I've grown, I've asked myself many times, like, where's my time best spent? And one thing that I'll never give up is doing those initial consultations. I do them on the corporate side now. I can't do the wedding side. I'm sorry. I can't like.
Why not? It's
I can't
so
like
glorious.
feign interest in like someone's like dress or ring or engagement. I'm sorry. Been married for. I mean, I've been married too long, and it's just I'm just jaded to it. I love shooting weddings still.
Yeah.
But like I don't. I'm really bad at being fake too, so I can't be like. I can't feign interest, and so I just come off as uninterested. Now, corporate, they're like, here's the deal, you know, here's the scope of work, and it's like very cut and dry, so I can do that well.
Like, I can meet those expectations. Yeah.
Yes, but I've also gotten good at spotting like red flags. So I make sure that the clients coming in on the corporate side are ones that we want to actually work with long term, because that's kind of my thing is if you work with us once as your photographer, videographer, I want you to be like, why would I ever hire anyone else? Not just, I'm happy with the job you did, you guys did okay, but like, I want you at every event. That's kind of the way that I approach every corporate client. But then you don't want to be tied into a corporate client that
sucks,
bad communication, you know, not appreciative, those types of things. So I've learned to kind of spot those things on the front end in that initial like 30-minute, 1 hour call.
I think that's something I've always been telling people too, like a lot of just like, I get on these calls and like as much as they're interviewing me, I'm interviewing them.
100%. Yeah.
Are you even going to be worth the amount of money you're paying me, basically, right? And there's some people I'm like, you couldn't pay me enough to deal with you. And you can read that, but you also have to be able to read people. Right? Some personalities can't read every personality. So it's like, I don't have to say, and that's one reason I've always wanted to stay in business for myself, is to control that narrative. Because especially on a planner side, whether I picked the videographer, whether I picked the venue, whether I picked any of those vendors, they always come back on the planner, right? Thinking that I had a say in that, right? So it doesn't matter. So it's like, again, that's why we like to get ahead of the game as well, to have a say in some of that. But it is the narrative of, I will say no to clients. Like I will say, I'm sorry, we are just not the right fit for you. And there's sometimes I recommend other planners in that, but again, like if we're not jiving within that first hour, the odds of that changing after a few more consultations are pretty slim.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
And they're not going to change, right?
They're not going to change.
So
they're not going to change.
What's like the craziest consultation or tour that you guys have had where you're like immediately you knew?
I mean, that's so hard. I've had
that is really hard.
Wild questions. I've had people that are just, it's the people that want to nickel and dime me. You know, I want to be there for the salt of the earth people. That's why Lionsgate's never really like gone crazy expensive, is I like to stay kind of in that middle ground.
Same, yeah.
Colorado in a whole is a general mid-market.
It's true.
Right?
But I've had the people that are just like, you know, they think that they can like haggle with me. I'm like, no, I'm going to sell my Saturday for what I'm going to sell my Saturday, whether it's with you or not. The
venue is one area that you can't really haggle with.
Yeah, because I have a finite amount of buildings and a finite number of Saturdays. So take it or leave it.
Low inventory. Or finite inventory. I'll tell you mine.
I'm excited right now. He's ready to go.
So I had a this was back when I was doing the wedding consultations, and thank God Brittany took that over for me. She's fantastic. I mean, literally 5 minutes on the phone with Brittany, and she knows your whole life story, and you know hers, and you're best friends. It's basically how it goes. But with this specific it was the mom and the daughter, right? Which is like red flag right off the bat. Like, like the daughter can't even have like a video call with me alone. So the mom's on the phone and she's like, I'm kind of telling her about our packages. I told her, we have a lead in a second, and she's like, well, we're gonna need 2 leads. I'm like, okay, that's gonna be an upcharge. It's not what our package entails. So that's gonna be an upcharge. And as we're going through this phone call, I'm just throwing on random upcharges because about 20 minutes in, I had decided in my head like I don't want to book these people, and I'm like,
gonna price myself out.
Yep.
Pricing myself out, but I'm also literally recommending other people on our phone call. I'm like, have you checked out this company? Have you guys done your? Because I always throw that in as sort of like a good faith thing where I'm like, have you done your due diligence? Because I want us to be like your dream photographer. I don't want to so you need to go out and do your research and then come back if we're the right fit.
I love that. That's like I'll do a similar. I'm like, look, I'm not the cheapest. There's definitely cheaper out there, just so you know. And I always recommend chatting with a few planners, right? Like, make sure that they're the right fit.
Do your due diligence, because if you're going to book with us, I don't want it to be out of convenience or whatever. I want it to be because we're the people that you want.
Yeah.
So about 30 minutes into our call, I read her. We have a clause in our contract. It's called the No Momzilla Clause. It's literally called the No Momzilla Clause. And basically what it states is, because I knew that she was paying for the wedding, and in my personal experience, I would say about 50% of those are red flags.
Mm-hmm.
Like if the mom or the parents or whatever are paying for it.
They want it to be their wedding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I ran it. I wouldn't say that 50% of those have issues. I'd say 50% of my issues in general are that structure. So I told her about our No Momzilla clause, which basically states, regardless of who is paying for the package, we only take creative direction from the bride and the groom.
That's the clause basically we have is I don't care who's paying, who is the decision maker.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that is who it's funneling for.
Yep.
Yeah.
I might rename it now.
We lay it out there. We're like, hey, we're not dealing with parents like that.
I don't get a lot of momzillas though. I get that all the time. Do you have bridezillas? I'm like, no, but again, I'm interviewing them.
Never.
So no, and my moms are generally not my problems.
Lucky.
Now, my mothers are the grooms. There is my
Really?
Oh yeah. Mother's the groom. They feel left out. They feel like they don't get the same stage. So like I have mother of the grooms are generally where I
don't think I've
problems.
ever had a mother of the groom issue.
What?
I mean, I'm sure I have, but like
nothing comes to mind.
Moms or grooms. Groomzillas can be brutal.
I've never had a.
I had one couple where the bride acted more like the groomer. She was like, I have my dress and I don't care about anything else. And the groom was like, oh, we are on it like this. I was like, okay, all right. Yeah. I mean, I can work with it, but it's, my mother of the groom. I've had like at least 5 I can think of off the top of my head. And not like terrible. Like, I don't want to say that they were terrible, but like just didn't want to listen to anything that any of us had to say. She needed her spotlight moment, like emphasis on things. Those ones have generally been my little area of like throwing down.
So what happened with this mom?
Well, they didn't end up booking with me.
That's good.
Good job. Well done.
Yeah.
Job well done, I guess.
And I ended up throwing like another 1,100 on because, it's kind of one of those things where you're like, if you are going to book me, I'm going to make sure I get paid for my headache.
Yeah.
But I've gotten better over the years. We've had a few bad ones slip through, and I think the way that our sales process is structured and the incentives that are built in, I'm not going to throw Brittany under the bus, but I think that it's.
Just kidding.
I think that like I incentivize her to sell wedding packages.
Yeah.
So it's not really in her best interest to be like, I don't think this is a good fit. I think she's going to be a pain in Devin's ass.
Yep.
And then not sell it. She's like,
let
Devin do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So she'll sell it, and then I deal with all the operations side. But she there are a few that slip through, but honestly, we do 100 a year and maybe have one. One. So we've gotten it down really, really well to where in the past I'd say it was more like 3 to 5. But we were also doing like 150 to 200 weddings. So it's kind of like, I always say in this industry, especially, there's definitely a point of diminishing returns, right?
Yes.
Right? You know exactly what I'm talking about, Alex. And you just kind of got to figure out where that point is and stay below it. And it's, never looking back, that's for sure.
Yeah. 2019 was Lionsgate's record year. We did almost 400 weddings.
Ew.
And I will never, ever do that again. 2020, although a hell of a year, it definitely allowed me to like look at this and be like, nah, we're going to shoot for 150 and be happy there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too many. But okay, I've got a good consult story for you.
All right, shoot.
It's a wild one. There was this gal. She had toured with us, years past. We keep all of our database stuff. We've got like
we need some anonymity here. We'll just
okay, a person.
Okay, yeah. I'm just
no, you're right.
Just in case. Just in case.
She came in and she was ready to book, and she asked for several glasses of wine. We serve beer and wine during our tours and stuff.
Sweet.
I
know. I rob the
fridge
like every time I go. I'm sorry.
Again, I think I need to be up at Lionsgate.
Yeah, you need to come down.
I'm missing something.
She drank a whole bottle of wine. She was there with her dad, who was going to give her the money. We leave the room, and I overhear her and her dad talking about, he's like, I'm going to give you the full venue amount. Like, we have it structured where you pay, 10 months, 8 months, 6 months, whatever.
Really?
He's like, I'm going to give you the full venue amount. You're an adult. It's your responsibility to keep that and pay it. And I was like, oh, no, this is going to be bad. I can feel it. And she did end up booking with us and canceling because she'd spent all of the money.
On what?
Yeah, I was like,
I don't even know.
Was it even wedding related?
But in the consult, like we're in the tour, we're like, okay, here's the contract. And she goes, I'm paying X amount of dollars, and grabs our little pen cup and opens her purse and just dumps all the pens in. Yes.
Do you think she spent it on wine? Is that what
Probably.
Just started her own wine collection.
What is she doing with those pens? Let
I
alone
know,
the
I'm
money? Like, what is happening right now?
She started a pen store.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to sell this to get the rest of the venue fee.
Yeah, exactly. I got a plan.
Yeah.
Oh,
All those pens for not
That's
writing
good.
checks.
Yeah,
Makes
exactly.
sense.
that's good stuff.
I've had some,
Did anything come to mind? You got one for us?
I cannot think of one. I've had weird interactions and weird things, but I will say I don't have anything that's like super crazy.
You're just like,
on event day, there's some more crazy stories there.
Yeah.
But like as far as a consultation,
All right, give us your craziest event story.
well, now I gotta think. There's a lot, and I gotta think which one's even appropriate to like tell.
I told
There's so many things.
Yeah, I told mine to some gal that was doing social media, and I'm not gonna tell it again because it actually happened at Lionsgate.
Just kidding.
But there might be some like legal issues there because the lady was like assaulting people, children.
I've caught people doing the nasty in events.
I have
Really?
too, yeah.
There's a venue specifically during the walkthrough. They were like, you need to make sure you're checking extra areas for this. And I go, first of all, that is not in my contract. So let's get
You're just
that
walking
straight.
around the
Yeah, I'm like,
closets.
but
That's
I've
not my job.
I've had at least
Not a babysitter.
a few events where you've caught them doing the nasty. We've definitely had our fair share of needing to kick people out, which is always fun.
I had the
Guys,
SWAT
I run a
team.
tight ship, okay? No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
I don't have
Nothing
issues.
happens on my watch. No, I'm just kidding.
I had a jealous boyfriend of a bridesmaid called the SWAT team. He said that there was bombs. Yeah, the SWAT team showed up in the middle of the wedding.
No kidding.
Yeah.
At yours?
Mm-hmm.
I watched like a Judge Judy that was very similar to that. Maybe it was the same one.
Right.
I swear.
It was nuts. And then they came, all coming in, and I'm like, what the fuck do I do?
Yeah.
Like,
Excuse
hi,
me?
can we make this secretive so the bride doesn't know? Yeah, everybody knew.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah,
You can't really like
got-
hide SWAT.
No.
no.
The
That
guy got
feels
arrested.
like non-discretion.
Yeah.
At least come in a suit. Like, geez.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least know if you're gonna come look for a bomb at a wedding, just be a professional. Like,
Yeah.
Look,
Where's
look
your
the
No
tie?
part.
sirens. Come on.
Collared shirt at least.
Yeah.
Geez.
Yeah.
No, I've seen many faintings.
I've seen a handful of those.
Yeah.
I've only had 1 or 2 bridesmaids faint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw a bridesmaid faint up in Vale, and they carried her off. You know, she's like still unconscious, and I was like, God, how cool would it be if she like just stormed back into the ceremony? She's like, yeah, and the whole crowd just goes wild. They're like,
she made it.
Give it up for her. And then another one was a bride, and she actually fainted multiple times during the ceremony, and they just
Held
like
her
stuck
up?
her in a chair, and I was like, are they gonna strap her in? But
Yeah,
Oh my
that
God.
poor girl.
I actually, I don't feel bad for that girl because
Also, she deserved it. It's
no,
fine.
I'm not gonna say she deserved it, but to this day, that couple top 5 worst clients I've ever had. They not only gave us both the bride and groom gave us a 1-star review. Still on there if anyone wants to go check it out.
Definitely
Have
gonna
at
go
it.
read that.
Have
Probably
at it.
blast
It's
it.
fantastic, and you can read the whole story there. Because I did respond to them, and I'm really not kind when I respond to 1-star reviews. I'm like, listen, this is how it actually went.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just so everybody here knows. But they not only gave us a 1-star review, they gave the planner, the florist, the DJ, every single
Jeez.
vendor involved, they gave a 1-star review. That's all I'm going to say on that one, but they, I don't feel bad for them. Like,
That's
They
fair.
spent too much money,
fainted?
and the
Oh,
day
damn.
after, we're like, the fuck did we do?
yeah,
And we're sad about it.
Buyer's remorse.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
So silly.
that's kind of my, that's the one that stands out for me as like, what in the hell? Like, that's when you're like, I need to scale back a little bit and stop doing these one-off, these
Yeah.
one-off things for these one-off people.
What's the thing is, as you grow your business, you get to that point because right at the beginning you're like, I'm taking everything.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm saying yes to everything.
You're not in
I'm
a position to
growing.
say
yeah,
no.
you can't say no.
Yeah,
And as you gain experience, and as you finally, and again, so many people in our industry do not charge appropriately. I am guilty of that.
same.
Like, but as you grow and you get experience, you're like, you are literally just not even worth the time, right? That's like on a consultation. If a client doesn't want to listen to the expertise our team has to give on a consultation, or is like, oh, that's really good, like we'd love to, like blah blah blah, like I'm not gonna work with you. Why are you hiring me if you're not gonna listen to the experience we have, right? So it's. This industry is just, and I tell my clients that too. I'm like, this industry is a monster. You don't know what you don't know. There's lingo to work with the venue. There's lingo to work with the videos. There's lingo to work with planners, with the florist, right? So like, and knowing all those ins and outs and contracts up the wazoo, right? Like, it's a lot to digest.
Tens of thousands of dollars spent.
Yeah. I think the hardest thing that we have, like, is your DIYers. They think by DIYing, especially from a planner's perspective, right? Like, you can DIY, but I now have to bring in that many more of my team. So, like, I actually cost more for you to DIY.
Yep.
Because you don't have a professional florist. Well, now my team has to set up those florists as opposed to the florist doing it, right? So it's like, your DIY, you might think you're saving dollars, but you're actually not.
You're not.
And you want to be setting up flowers 2 days before your wedding, and are you going to keep them cool, and are you going to have them fresh?
Right.
No.
And then what happens when it's your first time making a bouquet and it's not how you envisioned it, and you're like, what, sobbing into your bouquet the night before your wedding? Like, that's not what you want.
There are areas that I am like, you want to DIY, here's where you DIY, and you might actually save yourself some money. And there are areas that you want the professional because you want your day as stress-free as possible, right? Like,
Exactly.
And there's areas too, again, being a planner, here's how you're going to save yourself money, and here's where you're not. Here's where your time and energy should go, and this is where it shouldn't. But, and again, the ones that we work with really lean into that expertise with us, and the ones that fight me, I'm like, bye.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
it's not worth my time. I can't educate you enough
Yep.
to get you to listen to me, right?
Yep.
So you do. It's, again, the people that charge what they're worth, there is a dollar amount in every section, DJ, video, photo, florist, where I'm like, if you are generally under a certain amount, you're very new.
Red flag.
And it's a red flag. Then there's a happy medium of working. Again, I will say this. There is a person in the wedding industry for every budget. I think that's what's hard for people to grasp their head around. There are planners that cost 20, 30,000,
Yeah.
even more, right? Like, and that is coast to coast difference. But like, and there's DJs. You can get a DJ for $500 if you
All
would
day.
like.
Yep.
Should
Might
you?
show up.
Absolutely not. But that's where, again, like you are paying for quality,
Mm-hmm.
and you are paying for like them response times for their team, for them to have backups. Like,
Yeah.
it's you're paying for quality, right? Don't even get me started on the word luxury.
Track record too, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and reputation. I feel like that's one of our biggest selling points is like, hey, we've been around for this long.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're preferred at these different venues. It doesn't happen by accident.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
I've had, you have X amount of years of mistakes made to know
Yeah.
what not to do.
right, exactly.
Mhm.
And that's why we give discounts working with our preferred partners. That's
Same.
exactly why. Because if I'm working with Heather, well, I know that I'm going to get a timeline on time. I know that things are going to be
Don't hold your
generally in
breath.
order. hopefully,
Generally, it's
right?
okay. Maybe not.
You know, if we're,
Don't
if
give
we're
me too
working
much
at-
credit. I don't want to live up to it yet.
There you go. But if we're working at Lionsgate, like we know things are going to run on time. We know the area. We're familiar. So it just makes our jobs easier. And this is why I don't like when people give pushback and they're like, oh, like, you know, the preferred vendor list. All it is like, we're just saying these are the people that make our jobs easier when we work
Yep.
with them.
But it's not even our jobs. It makes their day
Exactly.
easier.
Yeah.
There's a
Right?
number of
So, like,
benefits. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's selfish on our part, but we are selfishly that way to help our clients have
Yeah.
a great day, right?
I always say to clients, like, if you book the people that are on my preferred vendors list, there's going to be a different feel to the beginning of your day. Like when Devin walks in and I'm like, hey, Devin, how's your wife? How are your kids? You're going to feel that as a client opposed to, hi, I'm Alex. Here's where you put your shit. Let me show you around the property. Like that is a different vibe.
It's playing nice in the sandbox, man.
Yeah.
I come in, I know right
Clients
where to
feel it.
put the wagon.
Yep.
In the
Yeah.
coat closet. I go straight over to the cabinet and I put my audio in. I
Yep.
plug in my audio because I know exactly where that's at.
Yep.
Yep.
And then I go straight out to the ceremony area and I set my tripods in the same spot that I did the last 30 weddings that I've done.
Yeah.
And there is a little element to like working at the same place a lot. Some
Huge
vendors don't
element.
like that. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, you know, I can't get creative. It's like,
It's stale.
listen, I can show you 30 different Lionsgate films, and they're all completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all so different because
Mhm.
the couple and the details that they have, that's what makes the film unique. It's not
Agreed.
like if you're putting a bunch of like crazy venue shots and drone shots in your wedding film, then it's probably not a great film, in my
Right.
opinion.
That's
Yeah.
not what the client wants. Yeah.
Exactly. That's like for your
Well,
reel.
Your drone shot
exactly.
can only look so different from 500 feet in the air. Like you have the ceremony chairs where they are, and the venue didn't move. So
Yeah.
like, no crap, that's gonna look
I've
the
used
same.
drone shots from other days.
Past
so-
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, they
B-
look
B-roll.
the same from
Same
500
general
feet in the
time
air.
frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I have such a love-hate relationship with preferred lists.
Mhm.
And I have multiple lists too, because like every list that we send to clients is curated specifically to them. I don't just, and venues, why would you curate that? But here's who we like at our venue. But we have like our first list is like, we've worked with them. They are a lot like our personalities. We have a damn good time working with them. You like our personalities, you're going to love them. And these are in your budget, right? Then our second list is like, well, we get this a lot is I am generally a very outspoken person and can be pretty blunt. And they like that in my role, but they might not want that necessarily in the video, photo, or something like that, right? So, hey, here's some like softer human beings that are really kind and we've worked with, vetted,
Yeah.
they're great, right? Then our other list is like vetted, have not personally worked with, transparency, right? Of like, we know they're solid. We know them in the industry really well. We know a lot of other people have worked with them. We just have not personally had the opportunity to do so. So we've got that. And then we've got our red list, obviously.
What's the red
But
list?
it's the people
We
where
have one,
if-
too.
yeah, you've got to have one.
Yeah.
If a client has already booked with certain people, we will just immediately not take
No kidding.
take it. Yep.
Mhm.
And
Okay,
there
I'm gonna
are
need you to list all those off.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Listen close. But like again, from a planner, we hit some walls because I get our goal and venue's goal specifically is to like, I hate to put names, like to not have Aunt something doing this, right? Oh, well, my aunt's really good at planning things, so she's going to come in and do this, right? But there are a few venues out there where it's like, again, I air quote professional all the time still, even though I am a professional at this, is I'll never, like, I've lost bids because they might have a quote from me in their inbox, but then they sign with the venue first. Now they have to pick from their preferred planner list, and now they like won't even take a call with me to be like, they want to work with me. I am a professional. Here's my insurance. Yeah. Here's other people you can call. They'll vet me. Like, we're good. I'm an actual person. They're like, no, we're good. It's like, well, I'll never get the opportunity to even work at your venue if you don't have any wiggle room at all.
Exactly.
So again, I'm not against a preferred planner list, right? But like, and then we had another venue where we have a client that wanted to go there, and they're like, we would love to have you and our client here. However, you need a sponsor from a planner on our preferred list. And I had never seen that. Was a brand new one I'd seen. And I was like, you need my client now to pay me and pay another planner to sponsor me. Luckily, I knew 2 of the planners on that list. So I was like, how the hell is this going to work, guys? Like, my clients are going to put out more money on a second planner, right?
Yeah.
So we kind of just nixed that venue altogether because they were like, I was like, that's just not in my realm. That was just ridiculous. So again, I get wanting to filter out the family members and the, newbies, or not even newbies because we all start somewhere, but like the ones doing it as a super side hustle.
Yeah.
But like, be open to having a call with us because planners, photographers, there's a dang dime a dozen, right? So it's just like,
and, I mean, too, like new people a lot of times have that passion and that fire still, where you get a DJ that's been doing it for 40 years and they're a little disenchanted, and so it's not really about being new. It's just it's just about them being a question mark. Like, you want to eliminate the question marks from your biggest day of your life, right?
Yeah.
And so, again, I feel like that's why we get the benefit of a lot of bookings, is because we put a huge emphasis on training our team. And I can confidently say, like, hey, if they're a principal photographer with us, they've been with us for more than 5 years, they've done over 100 weddings, you're good. You're in good hands. Yeah. Now, we have our associate shooters that are working their way up. They've been in the system for 2-3 years. They're still full-time. They just haven't worked, like you said, they haven't worked with us long enough to earn our trust.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of talented people out there, and you guys know this very well, but especially in the photo video world, there's a lot of very talented people, but they don't have like the soft skills, like showing up on time.
Yep.
Not smelling like, cigarettes.
Yeah.
Interacting with the couple. Those skills that you can't really teach, or I can't teach. Those are, things that your parents should teach you. And
common sense.
I can teach you how to take a good photo, but I can't teach you how to give quality direction to the couple, or interact with other vendors, or just be a kind, friendly person.
Literally.
Like, so that's really, and I've had a ton of weddings where, a good example. So this was 2 years ago. They booked their photographer based on an Instagram profile, and this photographer had a just banging Instagram profile. I'm not gonna lie, it's amazing, but they never actually met the photographer until the day of. So they booked them based on their work.
I know.
Right? And they booked us after a consultation and then also seeing our work and everything, right? And she emailed me about a month, and I wasn't a fan of the photographer either. This person was just not a friendly person, just not very friendly. And so about a month after, she emails me and she's like, "Thank you so much for being so friendly on the day of. Like, it really like made us at ease, because our photographer we were not a fan of." And I was like, "Did you talk to her before you booked her?" "No, we booked her based on Instagram." I'm like,
I've seen that a lot in the last 5 years. People book Instagram photographers, and then the photographer shows up and it is their show.
exactly.
Like, they're shooting for their Instagram, and it's not a vibe that I can get down with. If that's what you want out of, you could care less about how they treat you and what that is and your experience on the night, then it's for you. But it's really interesting. I've seen a trend in that, and I'm not a fan.
Yeah. Well, there's some photographers that strictly market through Instagram.
Yeah.
And We really don't. We're like,
We
we've got a little
see a
following,
lot from
but it's cool.
Instagram.
We
We have
do
a
too.
small following, but like we do see a lot of traction of like we found you on Instagram. Like cool. Meet with every single person that you're going to book. And I always say that photographer, video, and planner. I go, your intimate moments
Yep.
are literally spent with us. So you
Yep.
better dang well feel comfortable with us.
Better like us.
And be, because like for me, again, I build that relationship with the clients where I'm like, I'm going to tell you if your face is looking a little dull, and then you're going to naturally, like, again,
Yeah.
like I have to build that trust with you to be able to make you feel comfortable.
Absolutely.
Because they feel weird. A lot of people don't like being in front of the camera. I'm learning to grasp that situation and being in front more, but like,
I know. I hate it.
I hate it.
I'm a professional
You want me
camera
to talk?
dodger.
Like, yeah, I
Zoom
want to
in.
dodge.
Zoom in this camera.
Yeah.
Zoom in on her.
Yeah. Right. But it's funny that you bring up, like, they're shooting for themselves. Something that, like, that I don't want to say worked hard at, but imposter syndrome is very, very hard. And something where it's like, if you go look at our Instagram and you go look at our website, you are not going to see the most beautifulest floral installs, and you're not going to see all the grandest of things, right? Because you know what? Not every client wants that. And again, in the corporate world too, very different. But it's like, that's something that just like as part of like what I would say is Van Halen's brand is like, I am not here to look a certain way.
Right.
I will post what I want to post, right? And I will capture what I want to for my BTS. But like, I'm here to make your day look the way you want. And I quite frankly don't give a damn if you spend $1 million here or you spend $1 million there.
Right.
Where do you want to spend your dollars?
Exactly.
And we're going to help you lean into that. And imposter syndrome comes hard, especially in the wedding world when you've got the Lake Comos and the New Yorks and the LA weddings of this world. And you feel like you've got to have $1 million floral install to look a certain way.
Yep.
So again, I say that not
true.
lightly because I know, like, again, I look at some other planners' profiles and I'm like, shit, do I need to be, leaning into that more? I'm like, I just don't want to, genuinely, because like I have the clients where they're like, I have clients that literally find dollars on a regular basis because they're educated and they're spending it how they want versus feeling like they're forced into spending it how they think I'm telling them they should.
Yep.
Right? I have clients point blank where they go, do you charge percentage or do you charge flat rate? Because they're worried about us driving up their budget to make more.
Yeah.
And I can understand that. Again, there's some that are doing the percentage now and some that not. But like, that's the thing. I was like, we don't look a certain way. I said that earlier. We're a hot mess. We started that way. We look like a hot mess, but we post our authentic self of like, great, this was the car shot we got, right? This is how beautiful our clients looked that day. And they didn't want giant centerpieces, and that's okay. But you know what they did want? They wanted a $50,000 bar because they wanted the highest end alcohol there, and that's where they wanted that.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not going to say,
That's
by
their
the
choice.
way, your floral install doesn't make me look good. That's just how we... so we've got a new team member that joined us, and she was like, I'm kind of like, I don't want to lose myself. And I go, you don't have to. Lean into what you know. She loves the fashion. I could care two craps about the fashion world. I probably shouldn't say that on this, but like, I'm like, it's a good balance. I love that you love that, because that's one area now that I don't have to. I like cars. I like sports. I like tequila. Like, again, I've done really well
Gross.
with I know it's
That's
disgusting.
too far.
It's too
Tequila,
far.
that's disgusting.
No way. But it's like, it is. I genuinely, like, we post what we need to for ourselves, but I genuinely just don't care, which is why we say, we have a thing, I think my website person put this on there and I kind of liked it. It was like, we like cookies, but we don't sugarcoat things or something like that's on our website.
I like that.
We're not big rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
The one thing that like on a consultation I cringe at is when they're like, well, we were looking on Instagram or we looked at their website photos and we just want to do that. I'm like, that literally has no relation to you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, like,
my favorite client
let's
is sitting down
jazz
with
this
them.
up.
Yeah.
Like,
being like,
let's make this you.
yeah.
How do we make this you? It might be white flowers and greenery, but let's at least have the conversation of that. We're not big rinse and repeat. We want to design. We want to make this you, the little things that bring it out for you.
Yep.
And that's what you said something earlier. And I will always, you're like, I just can't fake liking a dress. I can't just fake any of these things.
Impossible.
And this, again, might be the psychopath side of us, but it's like, I literally, on consultations, not the first one, generally it's like our second one, where I'm like, hey, when your friends and your family start to get those glossy eyes, because this is consuming your life and it's not theirs.
Yeah.
We will
Call me.
talk
Yep.
all day and night
Yes.
with you about this. And we
Right.
will be as excited about it in day one versus a year in.
Yep.
Because we genuinely love this stuff, right?
Yep.
I want to hear how you liked this dress or didn't like this dress. Or, like, again, your friends and your family are about to get, there's a gloss. And that's what I
Yep.
tell them. I was like, we're always in your corner. We literally do this for a living. So I am still very excited about to hear about the dress, okay? But it is. There's a gloss of like, this is consuming your life. It's not theirs. They want to support you, but you're going to feel that they're overhearing about it. And it happens notoriously. And I love when my clients come to me like, it happened, Heather. It happened. And not that I want to be right, but it does.
Right.
But again, we're
You're like,
always excited to
talk
talk
to me, I
about
wanna hear about it.
I do.
Yeah.
Or like, even when we're not planning the wedding and a friend is like, we're going to go to this wedding. I'm like, what are all the details? I want to
I
hear all the
know.
tea. Like, how did it go? What did we do? All the things. It's
I
a
love it.
genuine
I do
interest.
too, yeah.
I learned from, and like, that's something too, right? I'm a really bad guest. I try my best to be a good guest and not judge. Because again, everybody's budget's different. Every level is different. But I learn a lot through people's experiences attending weddings.
I know.
Right?
I love
And
it.
I'd be lying if I think I haven't skewed like some of my family members and friends' point of views when they attend events now because they know what I do and they just hear things. But I learn a lot in that because you're throwing a party, right?
Yep.
Like you're going to be married at the end, but the number one comment we get is like, we just want to have a damn good time.
Yep.
Well,
Who doesn't?
this is
Yep.
how you do it then. Stop overthinking.
Girls
Yep.
just want to have fun.
Girls just
Girls
want to have
just
fun.
wanna have fun.
Put your hair down. But it is. There's no, it's just a freaking mess, man. It's hard to have a passion, like such a love-hate relationship
Yeah.
with what you do, right? Like, because it is. I absolutely love what I do, but sometimes I'm like, why is it
Yeah.
this way?
This is crazy.
This is
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like,
Yep.
come on now.
I'm the same way. I mean, I wake up and I'm so thankful that I'm doing this and not something else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But back to your point on them sending you photos of like someone else's wedding and saying this is what we want. If someone does that to us as a photographer, like, hey, can you do this? And it's like, can you send me something from our galleries
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and not
Yeah.
someone else's galleries? Because like the worst thing as a photographer, videographer is feeling like you're just trying to emulate someone else.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, that's not really what I'm going for. So
Mm-hmm.
I can kind of make it that way. Like, what was my original tagline when we started? It was tailored image, or, oh my God, I'm going to screw this up. Tailored images. Oh my God. Oh, inspired.
Take a second.
Inspired images tailored to your vision. So it was like, we're gonna bring you inspired images, but we're also gonna let you like tailor it a little bit. And by tailor, I mean like you can pick the song.
And by tailored, we're going to give you direct parameters on what you can actually tailor that to.
Yeah.
Got it. Great. Awesome.
But
Basically, you actually have no control whatsoever.
I have had that where they're like, hey, can you do this? This is something I saw on Instagram. And I'm like, maybe that's who you need is like a
Yeah.
I call them Instagram photographers. When I've worked with them, they're generally, God, I'm gonna sound like such a douche saying this, but it's honestly true.
You're in good company.
Yeah.
It's fine.
There's Instagram photographers. They're generally pretty self-absorbed, and
Mm-hmm.
when I used to do consultations, I would tell them, hey, it's an 8-hour package. It's not an 8-hour photo shoot.
Right.
As in, like,
Right.
we're gonna do like 2 or 3 hours of like staged groupings, romantic portraits, things like that, and then the rest of the day you're just going about your wedding and we're capturing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's not like, and there are certain photographers that I work with that it does feel like an 8-hour photo shoot, and models get paid.
Exhausting.
I know.
You even said
It
2 to
is.
3 hours, and I was like, 2 to 3 hours of staged photos? Like, gross.
Yeah.
I know. Usually by
I'm like a solid hour.
the 2-hour mark, the groom is like, I'm
Right.
Yeah,
Your
I'm
cheeks
out.
Toast.
hurt.
I'm
Toast.
out. And there's a reason why models get paid a lot of money, because it is grueling. It is very exhausting, and a lot of people don't understand that until they're 8 hours deep on their wedding day, and their photographer's like, hey, can I get you guys outside? It's raining, and I want to do the shot with the rain like splashing all over you, and get the it's like,
Yeah.
listen, I'm sure that's going to be a cool shot. However,
I just want to have a drink and
Yeah.
say hi to my family.
there's
Like,
there's a
gosh,
balance.
yeah.
And so that's kind of one thing that is a big selling point for us as well, is like, listen, we're going to be efficient with your time. We want to respect your time.
Yeah.
And even on like the video side, we do documentary style videos, and part of that is interviewing the bride and groom, but we never do it on the wedding day because you want us to set up a 20-minute interview on your wedding day? Like, you have 24 hours in the day. Think about this.
Yeah, let me find those 20 minutes for you.
Yeah.
You want to spend 20 minutes talking to a camera? No. So while I do like those takes, we'll either do it in the moment. Like, for example, groom is waiting for the bride during a first look. He's just standing there waiting.
Yeah.
Hey, how you feeling? Real quick, impromptu interview. How you feeling?
Yeah.
You excited? You know, what's going through your head?
Feeling fine. I'm here.
But, like, there's just certain things that I feel like are crossing the line from a photo video standpoint of, like, I'm not going to put you through that on your wedding day. Some people want that. That's fine. I'm not going to judge. That's what you want. Go for it. But like you said, we go for that middle 80%. We don't really mess with the top 10%. We don't really mess with the bottom 10% as far as budget goes.
Mm-hmm.
And usually, you know, like just like you, we like the blue collar.
Yeah.
I like when it's like a fireman and a grade school teacher or something like that, you know? And we try to price ourselves accordingly. What? I'm just saying.
I just like not.
I've had that.
That was very hard. That was a deep heart. Like a fireman and his great. Like you literally picked the two people on this like with their careers are like the biggest hearts on the planet. So well done. Like because I sure shit couldn't do either of those jobs. Like they are like good humans. Damn it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and but I think you can price yourself out from those people, you know, and
price yourself out.
That's why, and we talked about this a little bit at our last networking event. Do you remember that?
Pricing?
No, I mean just like going for that quote unquote luxury status.
Ugh, don't get me started on the word luxury. If I never heard that word again, it'd be too soon.
Yeah, that word to me just screams like I want terrible clients. Like so it's like you guys go for it. You go for it. That's all you.
Don't get me wrong. I dabble in that higher.
You dipped your toes in it.
I have, and I mean, I'm not. That's where my clientele is going. To be completely frank, but like the word like luxury is a. I would love to say the F word right now, but it is a flippin' service. I'm sorry, because if I hear the argument and I get slightly aggressive over this of its price per head or it's all in budget. Well, I have a 50-person wedding, for instance, or throwing out a scenario, a 50-person wedding with a $60,000 budget. You're telling me that almost a $1,200 person per head is not luxury because it was at a not so grandish event. Like that's what, like, so then where's your balance? Because if you have a 200-person wedding at a $65,000 budget, very different.
They're eating McDonald's. Yeah.
Literally, right? So, like, where is that?
I love when they order McDonald's.
Late night snack.
Late night McDonald's, Happy Meals?
I have not gotten that yet. I've had Chick-fil-A.
Really? Yeah. Chick-fil-A is
Taco
good too.
Bell.
Like the Four Seasons, for instance, right? Like the brand is service luxury. There's nothing like overly fantastic about the rooms. It's a hotel room. Maybe the penthouses or something higher, right? But like, in general, luxury is a service. You are paying for a service. You are paying for the planner to be on top of it and responsive and have their shit together and coordinating all of your vendors, right? You're paying the venue to be on it like white on rice. It is a service.
Yep.
Pay me like it's again, the word luxury, I have pulled it from like as many places that I even had it and yanked it.
Interesting.
Just because it drives me nuts. Yeah. It drives me nuts.
There's a meme, I forget his name, it's Andrew K. He's like a British photographer. Hilarious. And he has a meme that's like me turning into a luxury photographer, and he's like updating his website, and it's like the About Us page, and he like deletes it, and he's like, the journey. And then it's like, he goes to the pricing page, and he deletes pricing, and he's like, investment. and then just
there's no good words.
He just changes all the like names
bespoke.
To his website.
Like again, there's no good word, but like like again, just like authenticity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Be you, attract the clients you want, and operate right. Where you're talking about the Instagram versus like find if you don't like that editing style, go somewhere you like the editing style. Yep. I don't like when a photographer's like, well, I can edit that way. No, stick to what you're good at. Stay like. Go to your strengths, right? Caterers. you know what food you're good at.
Right.
Stay in your lane. You don't need to do it all.
Right.
Again, I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, that was slightly hypocritical because I get told all the time, you can't plan and you can't do all events, right? Because like people are so niched into the wedding world, and I'm like,
What's the saying? It's like if you're good at everything, you're good at nothing, or something
Yeah.
like that. Like I totally feel that way.
well, it's more,
mean,
if you
a
try to
master
like
of
do it
none.
all, something is
Yeah.
taking a hit, right? So for me though, is like my baseline of like I can do events. We understand execution, we understand flow, and we understand the needs that are needed to pull off the event you want.
Yeah.
Weddings have a little bit more in-depth details, which again, I'm happy to say we're deep into like knowing how to do that. But like, we can run a 4-year-old's birthday party. I understand you need food, balloons, and like design, right?
Yeah.
Like, we can understand like.
I just played my son's 9th birthday party.
Bless your heart.
I'm
We
getting
don't
into the
talk about
game. I'm getting in the game.
Oh,
You should
Better
see
watch
my
out.
kids' birthday parties. It's a little absurd. You've probably seen them on Instagram. His like Spider-Man theme was a bit
my
much.
daughter's birthday parties are a little
I
extra.
mean, it's what I do for a
I know.
living, right? And I thoroughly enjoy it. But like,
Same.
I have to tell people when they like come to my kids' birthday parties, I'm like, it's one of those, we listen and we don't judge. I do this for a living. I know a lot of people, and it's my like me bringing on vendors for like my kids' birthday parties or like things that I do it personally is my way to support them personally, right? Because like taking them clients is one thing, but it's my like, hey, I'd like want to support you. Like, this is how I can do
Yeah.
that, right? But again, it's like you can't, like, I don't feel like saying that we can do weddings, we can do corporate, we can do these. I don't feel like those events are taking a hit because I think we can do other style of events. We
Yeah.
understand the baseline, and that is execution, flow, and the vendors you need to execute that, right?
Yeah. It'd be different if you were trying to also be a DJ and a
Yeah.
photographer. And
Again, don't
mean,
put a
there's-
mic.
Yeah.
Like, this is probably the
There's
most
ways to
mic
do
I've
it.
ever felt comfortable with. That's where you struggle with a lot of these like other vendors wanting to provide DJ services, wanting to provide planning services, and again, there are some overlaps. Video, photo booth. I can see those going together. DJ, photo booth, those go together.
Podcasting.
Podcasting, correct.
Still working on that. Okay.
Planner, caterer, not so much.
No.
You know, planner, florist. I know that overlaps a good bit.
Yeah. I could see that. I mean,
That
there's
overlaps a good
yeah.
bit. But like
that's not for me.
venue, I don't know what
I'd
venue.
love to be a florist. You come like an hour before everyone shows up. You snip all the flowers. You put them in their arrangements.
I'm
and
Bless
then
your
you're
heart.
Yeah.
Based off of that one sentence,
done.
you cannot be
Yeah.
a florist at all. And I'm gonna go with, if there's florists that end up listening to this, they're gonna be like, "Thank you, Heather, for putting him in his place." It is definitely not an hour
Well,
beforehand.
they probably
Nice
think
try,
that I
though.
hit the red button too. So screw them. Any florists out there? No, just kidding.
It is definitely
Okay.
not an hour's worth of work, but nice
Yeah.
try.
Yeah.
Bless your heart. It's
I
more
mean,
like an
day
hour
of.
of loading in,
Day
maybe. No, it is not an hour.
Really?
No. And what?
It depends on the
What?
They're probably like.
florist. I mean, if it's baby's breath in a mason jar, sure.
Fair.
But
But they did the
Yeah,
they
is
did
this
the
like a
baby's
mandap
breath.
at like an Indian wedding?
Well, no,
or is
but
this,
like it's in.
what are we
You got to
talking about?
load in,
'Cause
then you
the
got to
mandap-
get to the venue, you got to load out, and then you got to put it all on. So I would say most floors take up these same.
Oh, they don't just pick it like from the field at the venue. They have to like bring it there.
Yeah, weird,
Oh.
isn't that? That's weird how that works.
Okay.
You think that they all could install all those things in an hour?
No, I think I think by the time I show up, they're already like 4 hours deep. Is what's going on?
I think by the time you show up, it's we've all lost our shit at that point, and
Mm-hmm.
now you're like, "Hi, I think
waltz
everything's
in.
going well." Just kidding.
Yeah.
It's so rare I lose my shit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say I lost my shit. I had one event where so much just was going against me, and everybody started asking me questions. I threw up my finger. I was like, I need 5 minutes. And I just walked out. I took my 5 minutes and I came back in and I go, and here we go. Because
Yeah.
it was just one of those like wham, wham. And
Yep.
that's so rare for me. I'm not tooting my own horn on that, but it's so rare.
same. I can usually get like fired
Yeah,
at. All
yeah.
I had one groomsman once be like I had a wedding that had multiple languages happening, and so I was struggling with that.
Fun.
That can get
And-
overwhelming.
Yep, and I was getting direction from every which direction.
Mm-hmm.
And this groomsman goes, "Do you even know what you're doing?" And I was like, "I'm
I
gonna walk
looked at
away
him
for
like,
a minute."
No, you should probably take over.
Yeah,
Thank you.
like
Yeah. It's
Wow.
Yeah.
adaptability. That's something I like. Adaptability. Everybody's like, well, what if this we adapt.
Yeah.
That's like my clients don't know if anything goes wrong. And they shouldn't.
Same.
Unless there is something catastrophic. Like I don't gatekeep by any means, but it's like a bud vase broke. Great. I'm not going to go report that. I'm going to shift it. Like it just doesn't, like those little things, right? Like adaptability, but trust. Again, from the planner's perspective, trust is huge. Knowing that I'm advocating and doing it the way they would want it to be done.
Yeah. You don't
while
need to
they
know
rely
all those little things.
You don't. You know that it's all going well. You're starting on time, and we're golden. How we got there is completely up to me, right? But trust. That's like my clients are like, favorite thing is like, okay, Heather, you told us. I can just say, go to Heather, and I go, yes, literally. Tell anybody that has a question for you, even if it's your video and photo, and they're supposed to be in the room. You don't want to answer it. Go find Heather. Go find her team. It doesn't matter, and ask if you don't want to like. Be so unstressed free, like you're good.
We actually require on wedding day that the couple assigns a designated like point of contact person that is part of their family they trust to make those decisions, and we don't go to them with anything, even if it is catastrophic.
It's
so
it's
like,
not the planner.
I mean,
require planners.
We have in-house planners.
Okay.
So, I mean, yes, it is us.
Yeah.
But, like, if let's say they hired an outside caterer and caterer isn't going to show up, rather than going to bride, we go to mom and say, you know, or whoever they designated and say, okay, mom, here's the situation, so that we can, and I train my girls to, like, you are the problem solver, but not the answer. So you go to them and you say, here's the situation. Here's option A, B, or C.
I like it.
Tell me what to do.
See, it gives me anxiety, but I'm a planner, so I never run into a wedding that doesn't have me, right? So I don't understand that perspective.
Yeah.
Or that's like anxiety. Like I'm like, I don't trust anybody that's not a vendor. Literally.
Why did you point at me when you said that?
No, it was a
like,
finger. Well, I also don't trust you, but it's fine. It's fine.
Hey,
We're still getting there.
We'll
get there.
Yeah,
We'll get there.
But yeah, I feel like even with stress, you get a tolerance for it. It's just like going to work out, right?
It's
like
high.
you have to stress yourself out in order to build that tolerance.
Yeah.
And when I first started, my stress tolerance was like 0, right? And it honestly made me, for the first, I would say like probably 5 years, that I owned All Digital, and then I bought the 2 other companies. My stress level was through the roof, and I didn't have the tolerance for it. So that made me a really bad manager of people, because there would just be, you know, multiple instances where I'm just losing my shit because the amount of stress that I'm taking on, I'm not built for. And
You give a very even, mellow personality, just like
it took a long time. And well, like you guys saw me even before we started the episode, you know, like things aren't going right, and
it read all over your face. Just kidding.
Yeah. But like I would say 5 years ago, I probably would have, you know, sorry to say this, Matt knows this because he's been there on a few, you know, gigs with me where I wasn't calm and cool. Rodeo, right, Matt? That's right, man. I mean, like, where I'm telling people, get the fuck away, you know, like. I don't go. I need 5 minutes. He's stressed over
here. I see that, and I'm over here just trying to crack jokes because that's what I do. Is like when I see everybody stressed, I'm like, time to fuck out. Like let's come up with a game plan and let's recover this, right? Yeah. Like let's have some fun with it, right?
There was a time where I wouldn't say I need 5 minutes. I need 5 minutes. Let me come back and get my zen. I would just be like, get the fuck out of my way and let me do it myself. Like, and that was my communication style for a long time, and that's why. I think both of you have the kind of similar communication styles where you're very blunt, and I appreciate that about people because I don't want you to, you know, beat around the bush. Like, just tell me how it is, and let's get right to it. That's kind of the way I operate.
It works against us though because so many people can't handle that. Right, like
you have to sugarcoat it.
And I don't. I might love sugar, but there is no sugar in me. Right, like there is no sugar coating things.
You're like the what was it? Who was the 3 little
Three Little Pigs. Where are you going with this?
No. The,
What is this?
Powerpuff Girls.
Oh.
You know?
Oh,
Sugar,
yeah.
spice, and everything nice.
Yeah, but
or-
No, what were those? Weren't those like Blossom and like?
Oh,
the
you're
professor
right.
was
Yeah.
like mixing it all in, and he forgot the sugar part.
He just aged himself pretty well. See, and I go to like
Cat dog. Remember that one?
Cat dog. I do know cat
do
dog.
remember.
My husband hates this statement. I'll always be like, "Look, I'm not fucking Willy Wonka. I don't sugarcoat anything."
How old are you?
Old
Am I
enough.
Am I older than you?
Is that appropriate to ask a woman how old she is?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
My birthday is
I'm not asking when your birthday is.
on Monday.
I can't do
Well, you
math.
asked how old I was.
Oh.
I'm not good at math.
Happy
though.
Well, I had to
birthday.
think how old I was. I was like, my birthday is coming up.
I know.
So I'm like, wait, how old am I turning? I'll be 34.
Okay, so we're like the same age.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
how old are you?
I did watch
35.
Powderpuffs. Like,
You don't have to say. So
I'm
we're all like the
35,
same
yeah.
age?
We are.
yeah. Oh my
Wow.
god.
Wow.
Just kidding. I get called the baby
When is your
all the
birthday?
time.
March. I just had it.
March. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I probably told you that on Facebook or something.
Yeah,
'cause it
probably.
pops up, but
Yeah.
The fact that you just said you did that on Facebook made me feel like you were like over 40.
Well, if it wasn't for Facebook, I wouldn't know when anybody's.
I literally got told that. They were
Same.
like, "You're on
Birthday is.
Facebook?" I was like, "Well, no, I'm on Instagram." And they're like, "You're not on TikTok?" I go, "No." And so it's like, you kind of gauge where you're at based to the like. I'm like, I like my Instagram, y'all.
Yeah.
TikTok and me are just not friends right now.
No, I do go on Facebook a little bit. I'm mostly on Farmers Only.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But
I feel that. That math is mathing.
yeah, I like Farmers Only. It's cool. It's a good community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Farmers Only.
Can't say I've personally ventured
I
there,
honestly,
but it's fine.
I don't use social media a whole lot.
I don't
really
personally.
I think I go on there and I scroll a lot and I like take in a lot, but I don't really like post. a
Doom
lot.
scroll.
Yeah.
Doom scroll.
I've gotten better at posting, but that's just because, like, again,
better,
better.
like more consistent, or
Yeah, and
Like
I'm
your
still not that
content's better?
consistent. Yeah, I would say, but I also have a guy that grabs most of my content. So when he can, he comes to my events and gets the BTS stuff for me because he's fabulous at it.
Nice.
I do what I
That's
can. I
awesome.
make do.
You should just take credit
But-
for it.
You can tell the difference
I mean-
between mine and his.
You produced it though, right?
Yeah, he gives me the clips and I throw it together. But I'm a big
you
music
go.
person, right? So it's like music makes moments is kind of the way. So like even for my clients, like I'm like, I don't care if it's like Michael Bublé and the most magical wedding words. Like pick the song that you want to define that moment.
Yep.
I don't care if it's. I was trying to think of like an emo band or like a punk band or something. Like it doesn't matter, right?
Blink 182.
Dashboard
Yeah.
Confessionals.
Yeah.
Anything, right? Country, like I don't care. Like again, I've been like, we'll go on like trips or something, and I'm like, okay, what's the song of the trip? And it just because like when you listen to it, it takes you back to those moments and those memories.
So true.
So yeah, I'm a big big music Weird how that overlaps.
Yeah. Must be in your blood.
Weird.
No.
No.
Oh.
And actually, like my family, I was like, I've got singers and musicians, and it does. We're all very, whether like my sisters are like, they were massive concert goers, and then like my cousin, she's got her own bluegrass band that might have been sold in country bluegrass. Grant, she's gonna kill me if she hears this. But then like
She won't. No one cares.
she
about
won't.
this
That's true.
podcast.
Nobody's listening. But yeah, just again, music defines a lot of moments. I forget where that rant went. I'm mumble and babble.
Yeah. I'm going to shoot Dashboard Confessionals on Saturday.
Are you really?
Yeah, the
That's awesome.
corporate event brought them in, but
Yeah.
my brother's the lead singer of Pandas and People, and you guys probably don't know who they are, but they were their backup band if Dashboard
Oh, that's cool.
fell through.
That's
But
cool.
yeah, I know how that is. Like, I feel like everyone in my family is very, very musically talented as well. Or there's a lot of them, I would say. And even on my wife's side, like her grandma does like the choir singing. Like it's
Adorable.
I was in choir.
we do imitations of it. It's really great. We do these imitations where she does an old lady voice and I do an old man voice. It's great. It's fantastic. So.
I'm gonna need like a clip of this.
Okay, yeah.
Great. I'd love
Let's
to
do
see
it.
this.
My husband and I met in band.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're both drummers. So
My husband loves to sing. I
You
don't.
play
but
guitar
he
too?
loves it.
I don't. Steve does. Yeah.
Don't you have a Facebook profile with a guitar?
I think I do. I can
Poser.
I can kind of play, but not very
Same.
well. Like
Same.
I wouldn't say I play,
Yeah.
but
I did sports.
Yeah.
I always wish, that's one thing, I always wish I'd learned an instrument.
Are you,
That's so
you feeling?
No, I just wanted
Are you
to
feeling
play with
stressed?
some balls.
Yeah, these are. It's more like a forearm workout.
It's
Yeah,
literally
it is.
like it
We were actually
needs to be
joking. We're like,
worked
it
in.
makes me feel more stressed out.
Yeah.
It does, because I'm like, I
can't.
can't squish it.
Yeah. Well,
It was just sitting on my lap. So
You
I
can
could
throw it at people if you want.
That's
There's
true.
a lot of equipment in here. I will
Yeah.
hold that for the moment, because otherwise I'd be straight at your face. Just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah, we got those made. I didn't make them. I had one of my
Is it paying off?
my people making them. I don't know. We just got them like a week ago.
Digital. Oh, so they're fresh. Fresh blue
Yeah.
balls.
Fresh blue
Fresh
balls.
blue balls.
I didn't even think about the fact that they were blue. You guys have a dirtier mind than I do.
Yes, 100%. I'm always in the gutter.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are.
12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
You are.
I love a good.
So what sports did you play?
I played a lot of sports growing up, but mostly basketball, volleyball.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about you, Alex?
No sports.
No
I
sports?
was a dancer and drummer.
I did
Dancer
hip hop and
drummer,
belly
those
dancing.
Those go
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. Last podcast, you were like, my favorite thing to watch was ballet. And
So sophisticated
And-
of you.
Oh yeah, ballet and hip hop.
yeah, those were my two favorites.
Yeah.
I did hip hop and belly dancing.
Belly dancing. I did a little bit of belly
I only
dancing.
did that for like 2 years.
I do
but
belly dancing, but it's different.
It's something more like beer belly dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine.
It's like that Indian guy that just shakes his belly. That's what I do.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. What are the what's the Goonies?
Oh yeah, the truffle shuffle.
Shovel shovel. Thank you. Little shovel shovel action.
I think that just dated us.
Did you
even
know
know
they're
what
coming
that
out
is.
with a new Goonies?
Are they really?
Yeah, I've heard they're coming out.
Yes.
Somebody just told me that. I did not confirm that, but somebody told me that. I saw it on the internet, so it's got to be.
It's got to be real.
You know, sometimes I think I'm getting too old to like to what?
That
To speak?
to like. Never mind.
Oh my god, that was mean. Sometimes I feel like I'm getting too old to like be cool enough for like my wedding clients, and then I remember like I'm a wedding photographer. I was never cool. You know?
So just because we do like weddings, we're eventually not cool because we do weddings.
Oh, we were never cool.
I was like, I think I'm pretty damn cool actually.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe
in the
you.
photography world,
Yeah.
it's like a kind of a lame thing.
Oh.
In the photography world.
To be a wedding photographer is lame in the photography world. Interesting. Why so?
I don't know. I think a lot of
Why so?
people's.
How come?
Yeah, you just learning how to talk, or
I guess I shouldn't be speaking. I'm too old to be speaking.
I feel like a lot of people just start in the wedding industry and then they move on to bigger and better things.
What are those bigger and better things? Commercials?
Yeah, like film
Yeah, like
or like
commercials, film, yeah. And I feel like, I mean, there are people that just do weddings and they just lock in
Yeah.
and that's all they do. I personally love shooting weddings. I have not gotten disenchanted to the shooting portion of it. I love shooting weddings.
Can we get like a playback? Didn't you not earlier just say like,
I don't like
He
doing
doesn't
the
like doing
consultation.
oh, the
consults,
consultation?
yeah.
I
I
was
don't
like,
want to talk
time
about
out.
it. Let me just show up and party with you.
Yeah.
But like, what is there not to love about weddings? I always wonder that with people. It's like you're in beautiful locations with beautiful people on the happiest day of their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing food. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's, I love food.
I love food.
I love food.
I
It's
just thought of a
fantastic.
really bad tour walkthrough. I don't know why that just came to mind. Continue.
Is that-
I can go
no,
back
no,
to
I'm done.
Yeah, we
Let's
gotta
hear
hear
it.
this.
I was at a venue waiting for the clients to show up, and they weren't showing up. So the venue called and were like, "Hey, we're still here." Like, and the groom passed the night before. And I left that walkthrough, and all of us were just sitting there like, "What do we do? What do we do? How do we what?" Like, I literally had to take the rest of the day because we're all sitting there trying to do, and he literally passed the night before.
No way.
Yeah, and so
Oh
we
my
were like,
God.
yeah, I'll never forget that feeling. I was like, we're sitting there waiting for it to arrive to do our thing, and
That is so sad.
it was
You're
so
like
sad.
secretly annoyed with them because they're not here, and
Yeah,
then
well, not
find a
even
real
know, but we're
reason.
just kind of like, okay, 10-minute grace period, fine. 20 minutes, where the fuck are you? Yeah, so then the venue called, and she was like, I just kind of felt bad. I wish we would have just like walked away because the fact that she had to get that phone call and like say that to us or like reiterate that, we
Yeah.
felt so bad. But like obviously we needed to know too. But like, Yeah, that I don't know why that just came to my
That's
head.
terrible.
That's probably the worst. Like,
You know, one
that was
time,
bad.
one time I went to meet with like a venue owner to get on their preferred list, and then like I show up and she was like nowhere to be found, and then she was 45 minutes late.
So
This
you
is
were like,
how it
I
works.
don't want to be on your preferred list.
Yeah.
Long story short, we're sitting here today.
Oh no shit! Oh my god, I love that.
Yeah, literally, I sat in the,
Oh my God, I felt
the
so
little
bad.
meeting room for like 45 minutes, and I was like,
I was in Denver at a networking thing and got stuck in traffic. Yeah, it was
You
really
do
bad.
a lot of networking.
I do.
Do you do a lot of networking?
I hate networking.
I have such a love-hate relationship
Yeah,
with that as
it's a
well, where
love-hate.
I'm a little over the amount of, I shouldn't say this. People are going to be like, okay, we're done inviting her to things. But it's like,
There's just stuff
there's just
all the
so
time.
freaking much.
And I
Yeah.
think you guys talked about it in the last one. It's just at those bigger events, sometimes you feel like it's just not intimate. You're not getting to the base of like connections. You know, you're just like, hey, cool.
Yeah.
That's it. So
I like networking events because the amount of time that it would take for me to go and have a one meeting with all the people I see at a networking event would take me like weeks. You see what I'm
That's
saying?
fair.
So like if there's 30 or 40 people, so it's more of like maintaining an existing network more than
Yeah.
like growing a network.
Mhm.
But
And
like,
that's a big difference. Like last year, I networked the heck out of it last year because nobody knew who I was really, right? But this year, I'm like, all right, I did okay last year. I'm pulling the reins back because like maintaining
how did
that.
we meet? I forget now.
Because we had lunch.
Yeah,
Remember
but
that
before
lunch?
that.
I know. Where did we meet?
I think Aubrey was asking me this. I'm like, I don't know. I honestly don't remember.
I actually,
Was
because
it
like
Feel Famous? That's what it was.
it was,
Yeah.
but it
Hey.
was.
Shout out Jeff
Shout
Libby.
out.
It
Here,
was.
let's get a
No,
close up on this.
I did meet. That's where Feel Famous was the first networking party that I was ever exposed to, as far as the networking world of the wedding world.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I
Expectations
knew,
set high.
Yeah.
I knew,
They're not doing it this year, which I
I
was
didn't know
really
a
sad
single
about.
I
soul.
know.
I didn't know a single soul.
Or I
walking
didn't
in
get
that whole
invited.
room.
Maybe I just didn't get invited.
I didn't get
You're like,
invited.
no, it was last
VIP only.
week.
Yeah, right. I didn't get an invite. There's all that. That's the thing. Oh, you get on the phone with like a vendor and they're like, "You going to this?" And I'm like, "Is it in my inbox?" I probably not at this
Yeah.
rate because, like, again, planners too. Oh my gosh, the amount of invites we get because I get it. Planners are
'Cause,
like,
yeah,
You're the top dog.
Which is
Yeah,
just-
everybody wants.
I
you.
always,
top of
I
the pyramid. You and venues. I mean,
I know I
And
don't
it's
like
really
it.
even planners are top above venue. I would think.
Do
yeah.
you have planners and no name? Do you have planners that you don't like working with?
Yes.
Oh, of course,
See,
of course.
I made that short list, didn't I? know.
There's actually, there was actually a. I'm not gonna name any names, but there was one that
Until we're off air.
yeah, I will.
Just
Yeah.
kidding.
There's one that just booked me a couple months ago. First time I've ever worked with them, but the company was it was an older company. They've been around for a long time. I'd heard of them.
The planning company.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And corporate planning company, and they had worked with Cal. And they're like, yeah, we used to work with Cal. You know, yada yada. I don't know why we stopped using you guys, but you know, this and that. And then they start going into why they didn't like the last videographer. And so instantly I'm like, okay. Anyway, worst experience ever. Gave them deadlines. You know, it's like, cool, I'll have this to you in 2 weeks. And then 2 days later, they're asking where it's like, what? Am I over the deadline here? No? Okay,
Yeah.
then
Did I miss something?
go away. Anyway, by the end of this experience, I was like, if these people ever ask me for anything ever again, like there's no price that you can
Yeah.
put on that. I will tell them no, 100%. And they were like, you were so great to work with. I'm like, glad you feel that way because
It was not mutual.
yeah, I didn't say that, but in a way, I'm like, yeah, that's fantastic. I'm glad that you liked working with me.
Well, I mean, like
Not gonna lie to you.
no.
Yeah.
At least they feel that way about you,
Yeah.
right? Like you didn't taint a relationship on that.
Well, there's no point in me like pushing back. I'm just like, yeah. What do you need? And with planners like that, not just planners, but just people in general like that. It's like, let's just get this done, so I can get you out of my hair and never think about you ever again.
Yeah.
Because there's no like, and I hate that it's this way because when we call them, the squeaky wheels, they get priority treatment, not because like they're throwing a fit, but because I don't want to deal with them for any longer than I have to.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Get them in and get them out.
Let's just get them out the door
Yeah.
and move on. And I have this conversation all the time with Aubrey and other people on my team where I'm like, should we really give them a $200 refund? It's like, well, what are the alternatives here? If we don't give them and this is very rare that we give people refunds, but like hypothetically, it's like this client, you deliver this 10 out of 10 gallery, but they say that it sucks and they want a refund and you don't think they deserve a refund, but you're like, okay, let's look at the alternatives here. I either give them a $200 refund or they go flame me on every social media site. Yeah. They give me a bad review and they're like just taking up negative space in your head for longer than they have to be. Like $200 is worth it.
Yeah.
Take your check.
Just go away.
So sorry that you weren't happy with things and
it's
best of luck.
Pretty terrible that people can hold that social media aspect and reviews and stuff.
Yes.
We had a clause in our contract because like the sepia bride situation and then the sepia bride 2.0 with the makeup person.
Sepia bride? What's that?
Oh, dear God, we need a whole podcast of that.
Like sepia tone?
Yeah. So she was called the sepia bride.
Oh.
Because of the complaints she came across when like literally that photographer edited it exactly how she always edits everything. But the girl blew her up on social media and it was the whole thing. Google it. Just like dive down that hole.
Yeah.
And then there was the one that like with the makeup and stuff. So we put a clause in there of like you have to come to us first if you have concerns before blowing us on Instagram or TikTok or whatever this crap is anymore. Cuz like
it's like
that's interesting.
The Brides of Colorado, or there's a number of like Facebook groups. I know you're too old for Facebook, but
I think my company's in those groups. I don't know how much further it goes from there.
But like, yeah, people get so this is my approach to it. When I see people getting flamed on Facebook after the fact, in like Colorado budget brides or something, it's like, well, number one, when does the couple take responsibility for who they booked or how much research they did into that booking that person? And secondly, it's like, flame them all you want, but like the thing about noobs, when you hire noobs, like you were saying, is especially in the photo video world, is they will literally shut down their company, start up under another name.
I've seen it so many times.
Like you can flame that company all you want. That company doesn't even exist anymore. And they've already started a new one and they're already booking new people under their new one. Yep. Happens especially in the video world all the time.
It happens photographers, and I will not name any names, but it's in my 16 years, I've seen so many of those same things happen where they just shut down, close all their social media, say permanently closed on Google, start up a new company under a different name, and do the exact same shit.
Yeah.
It's sad.
It's sad.
And Cal had a really great idea as far as like the clients go. He had a great idea for an app called Yap, where basically
patent pending.
Yeah, if anyone don't steal this idea.
That's like a thing with our friend groups. It's like,
patent pending.
It doesn't matter how stupid it is. It's patent pending.
But basically, a way for businesses to actually review clients. Right?
Yeah.
So then that
it's
way,
like Uber and stuff, right? You can review your passengers.
Yeah.
Why do they hold all the cards here? Like it's unfair. We should be able to flame them, and then that way, if somebody does me wrong, and then they're going to book a venue or something, and you look up their Yap score and they got 20 one-star reviews, you're like, I'm not gonna go down that road. And then they wouldn't be able to find anyone.
Like,
It'd be
the
awesome.
wedding ones, right? They're in general only having one wedding.
That's true.
Yeah.
So how do you get those?
If they're reviewed on Yap by, a restaurant because they're terrible, and they're reviewed by blah 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 and so, and then they come to you to get married.
What's your Yap name so I can tell them?
Yeah.
That's the thing is like
you can see it too. Like when I look at a company and they do have a 1-star review, you can click on that person's profile and see how many other businesses they've
what they've reviewed. Yeah.
So it's kind of like
are you just
well, that's the thing is like even though we have that clause of like you can't go blow us up, like free speech. You get to go. You can still go write a Google review, but it's like,
but you have to try.
You got to try to like if it was that bad, that you're trying to go viral, especially for things that are like not true or like is just generally off bases and you're literally doing this to get clicks and viral bullshit, like not cool.
Yeah.
Just not cool.
Well, one thing too is and there's been a couple instances over the past 8 years where we have issued a refund, but in conjunction with that, we make them sign an NDA. So basically saying like,
That's
if
what we
we're giving
did.
you this money, we're making things whole, and you can't go flame us on
You agreed
in
to
review
this.
sites.
Flame us.
And
I'm gonna start using that.
You can't
Flame us.
you can't even tell your like friends and family at Thanksgiving how bad
Right.
we were. Like
Yep.
that's how tight our NDAs are.
Yeah. I'm
So
gonna need that. Just kidding.
Yeah.
My
I'm
lawyers-
serious.
my
I
lawyers
mean,
need
we've
to
only had to
this,
do it
yeah.
twice, but it's like, well, you're not going to take all this money and then go give us a bad review.
Right.
That's not how this
That's
works.
not, yeah,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
or I can keep my money and you can go get me a bad review.
Yeah, or
Like,
go ahead. Go ahead, have at it.
All
if you wanna
day.
sign it.
By the way, we tried to reconcile this, and you still suck.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah, we have the same thing, NDA. I once had a client try to sue me or claim that he was going to sue me because of false advertising. Because on our website, when you scroll down to like our inclusions, it's like, you know, we include plateware and flatware and glassware, and it was a picture of a plate with food on it, and we don't include food. Yep. Tried to
So the
sue me
plates
for
He's
it.
Sue
don't come with
happy is what
food?
that is. He's Sue happy.
Yeah.
He is a Sue happy person right there, trying to find any little thing to sue somebody over.
Yeah.
I
You're
got
getting
I
that
got sued
ridiculous.
this year for the first time.
Ooh,
Really?
how was it?
It's
How
super
was your
fun. I had
first?
to
You know,
go
I
to-
hear you never forget your first.
Oh, it was
Oh,
great.
yeah.
I spent all day in court, and the saddest part is this was a friend of mine that I did. I mean, when I say discounted, I mean like 75% off discounted. And we were working on a project and kind of blew up, and
Doesn't it suck? The ones that you
Yeah.
think won't screw you over are.
Yeah.
it's interesting.
I
So
had
true.
that happen. I was like, we don't need to sign a contract. Like I've known you forever.
Yep.
Known you forever.
That's kind of the way this was, but
I
I'm
got
so
you.
glad that we did have the contract because I ended
Yeah.
up, winning our case because the judge is like, well, this is what's in the contract. You signed this contract, right? Well, this is what's in the contract. And our contract also, see, a lot of the contract language I stole from Cal, but in our contract, it literally says, we make no guarantees on the quality of the photos and videos because there's a number of different factors that determine the outcome of the photos and videos.
I don't want to do that. I have no guarantees on my personality that day.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like somebody booking a photo booth and then getting mad because like there's not enough photo booth photos. It's like, well, because
People
nobody
didn't
went
do it.
through it. So
Yeah.
You wanted it in the corner, and I only told the DJ to announce
Yeah.
it 12 times, and nobody listened.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
it's just all the
Been
photo
there.
booth attendant.
Yeah, like, no,
No,
shit,
we have
you
50
got no
more.
photos.
One sec, I'll upload them. But yeah. Well, cool. I think that wraps it up. It's 8:00. I know you have a bedtime. I know you gotta get home.
Why am I the old one and the late one? I was on time,
know, like,
and I might be
I'm
the
older
I
youngest.
don't want
than
you to be
you.
late to your next
Thanks so much.
next event. So but yeah, thank you guys for coming out.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
If anybody does want to be a guest on the podcast or sponsor or
I was never asked to sponsor, so I'm a little offended.
I haven't asked anybody except on the podcast. So
Okay, I refuse now. Just kidding.
well, yeah, you got your checkbook. What's going on? I'm just kidding.
You think I just again Powder Puff Girls, checkbooks, Facebook, but I have the bedtime.
I got called a dad recently, and it really offended me.
Because you are one.
I know.
Yeah.
But
So
for some
offensive?
reason, it really offended me.
What in what context?
Like they were just like, "Okay, Dad,"
Oh,
like that
I get
context.
that a lot.
because
Okay,
I'm responsible.
Mom.
Because I'm responsible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Mom.
Because I'm responsible.
You can't use the F word, but like one of my favorite sayings is like the write off. Like just go. Goodbye.
Yep.
Toodles.
Yep.
On that note.
On that note, thank you guys for stopping in.
Thank you.
Episode 2 in the books.
In the book.
Here we go.